A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the Capes and Lunatics, well, Phil and Tyler got together to review Star Wars The Last Jedi. That's right, I said it, I am Phil, and that handsome young Jedi over there is...
It's Tyler. Nice to be back, Phil. Been crazy.
Oh yeah.
Crazy month of December.
But I thought we'd get together and discuss a little movie no one's probably heard of, called Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yeah, this little indie film that came out.
That had like the second best Thursday opening ever, I think.
I can't keep track. Seems like it's always breaking new ground.
It said the Thursday opening set some kind of record. I don't know. You never know what it is. It's, you know.
It did amazing.
Because they always like break it down as like, second best, opening for age groups, 25 to 67 or something, something weird like that.
Oh man. But here we are. It's been 2 years last chapter Star Wars saga film. 1 year since a Star Wars film, and it's amazing to me, like, how many people don't realize that, like, Rogue One, like, jumped backwards. I have a guy at work he's like, I don't know how Darth Vader, he died, and then he was back, and then he wasn't in this one, and I'm like, that's a completely different story.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I know that way they can milk more money out of the property, but I'm just like, a lot of the general public, they don't follow a lot of like the news sites and stuff. So it's like people are gonna be like, "What happened? What happened?" The next thing people are gonna be like, "How did Han Solo get so young?"
Yeah, I'm still surprised on that they, like, originally The Last Jedi was supposed to come out earlier this year, and they decided to keep that December spot. So I'm really surprised that they haven't decided to move Solo to December of next year. I almost feel like maybe they're not as confident behind it or something, because I feel like now that this one's out, like we would be seeing more. Like, it's only 5-6 months until that movie, and we don't have a trailer or a teaser or anything for it.
Well, they basically reshot the whole movie.
So that's why I'm wondering if they don't push it out and just keep basically every December is Star Wars month.
You would think, especially with that, because then they did all those reshoots. They basically redid the whole movie, so I'm surprised they don't.
But we're not here to talk about Solo. Speaking of Solo, my Solo is he grew up, Phil. He decided last night that he wanted to stay the night at his cousin's house, and he stayed with my brother and nephews. And I kept expecting, a call or something to come get him. No, nothing. And then this morning, my brother said that he's having a blast and he's playing, and I'm going to go get him after we get done.
He's a man now, Dad.
I know. A big man of almost 3. Time flies, Phil.
It's like when mine goes to preschool and he just like runs in every day. It's like, okay, bye.
Bye, buddy. I miss you. But my little Padawan, your little Padawan.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, let's just do a quick recap. Just a short feeling on how you felt about The Force Awakens.
I liked it. I mean, that's where they introduced all these new characters like Rey and Finn and Poe. But I don't know. You're the bigger Star Wars fan than me. Did you think the criticism was that it was so similar to A New Hope was deserved or no?
I feel like I've sat here, like I told Jania when I got to see it. She hasn't seen Last Jedi yet. I was like, if The Force Awakens was like a safe retread, reintroduction into the universe, where it felt like Star Wars, but it didn't. Even with the new characters, like this film took it in a different new ground. I feel like, yeah, it was a lot like A New Hope. It also felt like a greatest hits film where they took beats from the different movies that you really enjoyed and combined them all together. I really like The Force Awakens. I feel like what I really feel like after this one is I almost feel like The Force Awakens should be episode 10.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Because and I feel like that because I feel like with The Last Jedi also they give us so much story that feels like there could have been a trilogy before these films.
I think if they would have had the forethought and wherewithal, they would have tried to squeeze out 3 more movies with like Mark Hamill and everyone. But
Because it almost feels like with the character's journey of the way Kylo is going, like you could have had like 3 films of like Leia, Han, and Luke, and then these films now pick up as 10, 11, and 12.
yeah,
But you know, I feel like The Force Awakens was kind of playing it safe, and it worked. I enjoy it.
but
I like it.
do you think this movie, The Last Jedi, there was like callbacks to other movies too? Because like when Rey's in the throne room with Kylo Ren and Snoke, didn't you feel that was like a really big callback to Return of the Jedi? You know,
Yeah, I feel
when
like
Luke's in the throne room with the Emperor and Vader.
this film, they looked at it, and before we jump into one thing I want to point out is I feel like this film's going to have a huge discussion about the fact that there was already a script / story for it made. And when Rian Johnson signed on to direct, he wanted to scrap the script and write his own. So there's already so I'm waiting for people to discuss the Lawrence Kasdan, J.J. Abrams' original story pitch, because if you remember right, when they finished the 7, and they had the script story plotted for 8 and 9. And J.J. Abrams said he originally would have wanted to come back and direct 9 because he really liked it. Well, now that's going to be a different story than what they originally had planned.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we know that J.J. Abrams is coming back to direct 9. So we'll see, because a lot of people are saying, well, they change a couple of things that Rian Johnson set up in this film and retcon some stuff, which, I mean, is in Star Wars canon to throw us some loops. And one thing, I feel like this film is a divisive film, because with Star Wars, doing the middle section first, it gave fans, in a sense, years to romanticize what they wanted from 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they would want from 7, 8, 9. And we had, the prequels that let a lot of people down. And over time, people have come to appreciate them more. And then with these stories, we've had so much expanded universe books and everything that when they decided to scrap the expanded universe and start fresh, made fans mad. And they're giving us new story. And it's not exactly the story that people wanted. So it's making people mad. But I guess we're going to jump into spoilers now. So, yeah, you ready?
Sure.
And spoilers. What did you think of The Last Jedi?
I liked it, but the way they're going, especially with that ending, I don't know. I feel a little sad. Well, you're the bigger Star Wars fan than me. How do you feel that one day we might get a movie without? Well, I mean, Carrie Fisher's gone. God rest her soul. They killed off Han Solo in The Force Awakens, and I mean, if we see Luke now, he's going to be like a Force ghost.
I think it's the same concept of looking at, no one's going to ever show their kids this, but that's the way Lucas wanted it. Lucas, when he made the prequels, wanted to do them as made numerical. So it's the same concept of watching the prequels. Then you get your next film, and there's Obi-Wan, and he dies, and now you're with these new characters still.
True.
It's the same kind of concept of, we're lucky we got Han, Leia, and Luke as much as we did in these 2 films, because the idea was to pass on the story to the new characters. And that's why I say I feel like there was a story to be told between before this trilogy started. because the biggest problem that people have is the way the character of Luke was treated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I don't hate what happened with Luke because I see it from a character point of view, which is a point of view is a big deal in the Star Wars universe. What I really wanted to see? I don't know. And part of it is because when you're looking at the Jedi, you got to look at it like a philosophy. And, they say Luke was a Jedi master. But everyone's trying to say that Luke was really BA. Well, was he? What did Luke accomplish? We never got to see Luke be BA.
I think it was more inspiration. He inspired everyone to keep going, and
right. And that's why, the fact that Luke never technically finished his training.
mm-hmm.
Luke was the first one to be trained in a different mindset for the Jedi, because the whole idea of why Obi-Wan didn't raise Luke himself was so that Luke would have different experiences and to break the mold of the way the Jedi order had been. That's why they were destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So Luke was a new way of training. And then you have, he never technically finished his training. And I lost my train of thought. Crap. Anyways, he learned his skills. But was he an awesome BA Jedi? Well, I mean, we get to see scenes that he knows how to use the Force, but like he talks about, the Jedi were destroyed because of their hubris.
Mm-hmm.
And he had come to that point where he himself saw himself as this great Jedi master, and then he had a moment of weakness. Do I think it's kind of weird that he was going to kill Ben in his sleep to destroy the evil? Yeah, it is a little weird.
Just for a second.
Yeah, I mean, like he said, it was a moment of weakness and doubt, and that's what the dark side does. And that's, during that one moment of hesitation is when Ben woke up. And I mean, I can see that being something that the character, because if you look at Luke in all the other films, he still has his flaws, because the Jedi Order is moving towards the concept of the gray Jedi, which is the one who finds balance in both the light and the dark. And it's not so much about being good, or it's about using your emotions, controlling your emotions, and the choices you make in them will determine who you are. And they're trying to move away from the idea of like just light and dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very loaded sentence. So in one way, yeah, I'm kind of like, I see as a story like where Luke is. He made a mistake. He's scared. Like his fear has overtaken him, much in the same way of why did Obi-Wan never rise up and destroy Vader? Why did he make it that it had to be Luke? Because Obi-Wan couldn't do it. And in the same thing, Luke is part of the old Jedi that can't destroy Kylo.
Yeah.
And can in that moment, but can he truly kill his nephew?
My imagination at the end there was going nuts for like a second, because when they showed that Luke wasn't really there, I was like, did they six sense us? Has he been a ghost since? Has he been dead since Ben dropped that roof on him? Has he been a ghost that whole time?
That would have been kind of neat.
Uh-huh.
That would have been neat. It comes down to like looking at Luke as the way Obi-Wan was. Like he made a mistake in a sense. He was scared of what he had done. He had failed training. But once again, they talk about Snoke had been invading Ben's mind and manipulating him. So that's why, like I say, like a story more about, is this the first film that actually did a flashback in a Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
Like, when Rey has the Force visions in the last one where we saw the burning temple and Luke's hand on R2 is one thing, but like an actual like flashback cutscene during talk, that's the first time it's ever happened. That's a new device that was introduced in this film.
Oh, I was gonna say, in Force Awakens, she had a little flash of like her parents leaving her, And that's the other thing. Do you buy the whole thing that Rey's parents were nobody?
Well, that goes back to were J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan setting something up for who Rey was, and then Rian Johnson wrote it as nobodies. And in one respect, I'm completely okay with it being nobodies.
Or, I mean, could they reveal that it is somebody later? Because where did she get that info from?
Right, exactly. It could be revealed. I mean, it still can, and that's what people are going to be debating. But if we look at it as they were nobodies, let's think of it like this. The Star Wars saga is about the Skywalker family. Technically, Ben Solo is a Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
So it still is about the family. It's not
Mm-hmm.
taking that away. Anakin Skywalker was really nobody until the Force, created him or whatever.
No, yeah, I mean, he didn't even have a father. It was just a mother, and I mean, we saw who she was, but she really wasn't, like,
So, I
integral
mean,
to the plot.
Rey's parents could have been nobody, but what I've always thought about was that Rey was created by the Force itself, too, as a balance. So, I mean, per se, I mean, that's like saying Anakin Skywalker's mother was just a slave woman. She was. But in the same thing, Rey's parents could have been nobody, but the Force could have created her because she was the balance to Kylo's equation. As he grew powerful in the dark, the Force needed something to rise to balance. And that's how we got Rey.
Yeah, I was like, oh, is that something? Because Kylo told her that, and maybe he was just trying to seduce her to the dark side. Like, oh, your parents were nobody. You can be somebody.
And it also looks back because it goes back to that whole hubris thing is because Luke said that Skywalker blood, like, he's ranking the Skywalker. And in the same breath, that's how Ben sees himself. I'm a Skywalker. I've inherited this legacy from my father, from my grandfather, from my uncle, like from this lineage. Who are you, nobody, to challenge me?
Because I was almost like I thought they were leading us somewhere when Luke and Leia were able to communicate and feel each other, and then Kylo and Rey were kind of almost had that same bond. So I was like,
I really liked the fact that the Kylo and Rey were like connected and had those discussions.
I was like, are they trying to show us some similarities there? Is there another brother sister bond there? Or at least cousin?
The one thing about the Force Awakens, or not the Force, the Last Jedi, I think would have been different that I would have liked to see, because the way this movie's done, it's like they took elements from Return of the Jedi and The Empire Strikes Back and kind of combined them to make one film. So the sequel is not as clear of what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's being discussed. Is it going to be a time jump? Because the way it ends, like all the resistance is on the Millennium Falcon. And, it's kind of like, how big is the First Order? And because it really feels like the First Order is trying to grow, but they're not as big as like the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a pocket order. So where does the sequel go? Because what I thought would have been a really neat cliffhanger for this film was if after Rey and Kylo had that awesome fight scene and he stuck his hand out, she would have like took his hand to join him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it'd been awesome if it would have ended there, in the sense of her thinking that she can save him, vice versa, and the idea that both of them come from an idea where they feel betrayed by the people who are supposed to be their masters and their leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to do it on their own.
Well, I was like, once again, going back to similarities to that original trilogy, was Force Awakens like your New Hope, where you introduced these characters, and then Last Jedi was your Empire Strikes Back, where, like, the Empire, or now the First Order, kind of has them on the run, but they have hope, and I mean,
that is, like, I think the biggest comparison to, like, the Empire Strikes Back is, like, it starts with the First Orders coming after them in their base. They're on the run. It's mainly in space.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Rian Johnson did a great job writing the story for, like, Kylo, Luke, Rey, that's like that dynamic. But I still feel like Finn's a character they don't know what to do with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like the Finn, I liked Rose. I liked her, like just her hope, her brightness, and I feel like Finn. It should have been Finn and Poe at the beginning hatching a plan, and not Finn trying to escape again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just feel like he's a character that's not. They don't know what to do with, and their whole side story really didn't pay off at all.
Because it's kind of like, Poe is like their, the new Han Solo. I don't follow orders, and
Well, what I think is funny is in this film they give more for Poe to do,
yeah.
and originally Poe was supposed to die in The Force Awakens. He was supposed to die with him when him and Finn crashed. He was supposed to die, but they decided not to keep him around. And I think it's interesting. He's got more of an interesting story in this that really doesn't pay off as well. And I just think that's kind of interesting. They don't know what to do with Finn. They like create this side story, and that's fine. It's like Finn's a character I like, but at the same time he's not serving a purpose.
Yeah, yeah. And then I was all like, I thought he was going to be the big love interest for Rey, but now it seems like maybe Rose.
Jania is always, ever since we saw The Force Awakens, she wants Rey to love Kylo. That's what he needs. That's what'll change him. I'm like, all right, baby.
Well, again, in the Force Awakens, I was like, can she love him? Because are we going to find out, he's her brother or cousin? Because I don't think they want to pull the George Lucas from New Hope.
No. They don't want to. This ain't Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I tell Jania is like in most stories I always identify like the character of like the true good hero.
Yes.
I'm a Superman fan, like straight up. I don't care. People say, oh, he's goody two shoes, whatever. Okay. But when it comes to Star Wars, the characters I always find the most interesting are Kylo Ren, Darth Vader. Like I love Darth Vader, like that tragic character, and I feel like I would like to see more development of those characters and their backstory of why they are where they are. I mean, my favorite moment in the movie was when Kylo killed Snoke.
Oh yeah,
like
he struck down his enemy.
Because I just was like, that's perfect. Because, if you look at it, Vader destroyed the Emperor to save Luke. Kylo destroyed Snoke to become Snoke.
That's why I'm wondering if like they're planting these seeds, so in the next movie, Kylo kind of redeems himself like Vader did.
I'm wondering if he'll get a redemption arc, or if he does, like it's not a clear-cut redemption.
Yeah,
it's kind of muddy.
Because I mean, unless they introduce somebody else, next movie there's gonna be no Emperor to kill. Kylo seems to be in charge now.
Yeah, he's now Supreme Leader Ren. So, which is I'm fine with, because I think it's just a nice little twist, a little something, because I like when he woke up and Hux tried to run his mouth and he was like and just like shut him down.
I was waiting for him to say, don't choke on your aspirations.
The one thing that I really do want to see, I'm going to throw this out there for the next film, is I really think that Kylo should be confronted by the Force ghost of Anakin Skywalker.
There you go.
Just because I feel like he's romanticized, he's built up, and he looks at his grandfather as he has him on this pedestal, and I think his grandfather needs to talk to him, like, and be like, look, this is not right. Like, this is not who I was.
You're making every mistake I did.
Yeah, like, I think if there's one character that could get to him, that's who should come and confront him.
Yeah, but do you think, that scene in the elevator when he freaks out and he smashes the helmet, do you think that was him trying to maybe move past Darth Vader, though?
Yeah, I do. Because, the helmet and everything is supposed to be like the opening scene, which I think was interesting how quickly it was at the beginning, was about, you're no Darth Vader and Snoke's putting him down. And all this about how he had promise, and in that scene is he decides he's not going to be a Darth Vader. That's when like he's going to be the next Snoke. Like
Yeah,
he's going to take over. And once again, he's betrayed by Luke, is how he sees it. Like Luke betrayed him. His family betrayed him. So he becomes Kylo Ren. He embraces the dark side. We see his struggle where he talks about the light pulling him. And even in this film, we see where he has the opportunity to blow up his mom, and he doesn't. Like he senses her on the ship, and he doesn't do it.
yeah.
And Snoke, basically he feels through what Snoke says to him. He says, I gave you everything. I gave everything to the dark side. And right then it's like Snoke betrayed him. So now he's done.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think even if Anakin appeared to Kylo, he might be like, "I've moved past you. I am going to, I am going to be better than you." And
which would be a great scene.
But speaking of his mother, I mean, we finally saw Leia use like the Force.
Oh, I read a quote.
To save her life. We were sitting in the theater. I was like, oh, it's about time.
I read someone put this awesome. Hold on. It says, a reminder that Leia has lost her adoptive parents, her entire planet, her father, husband, son, and been abandoned by her brother, yet has never been tempted by the dark side. That's pretty BA when you think about it.
I mean, is this like that? I mean, this is the first time in like these movies we've seen her use the Force, right?
Yeah. I mean, we saw like in Return of the Jedi, she has the sense when the Death Star blows up, and Han says, "I think Luke got off out of there," and she says, "He wasn't there." Like she could sense him. And then in The Force Awakens, she senses when Han dies.
Yeah, but I mean, this is like the first active use of the Force.
Yeah, exactly. This is her actually physically dealing with, which everyone's really wanted to see Leia do something with the Force.
I mean, this is like her first. I mean, this movie was like a great tribute to Carrie Fisher, but I just wonder what they're going to do with the character because.
And that's another reason I think of like the time jump.
Maybe because they said they're not going to do like any of that, CGI stuff where they're going to like have her, use an image and stuff. So yeah, they probably have to do a time. They're going to have to do some kind of time jump.
If they do a time jump and just she died, like, because it's one of those things that if it's kind of like she died off screen, off camera during a battle, nobody's going to pick that apart for bad storytelling. Because everyone's going to understand that's out of respect for her, the actress, and the character.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to worry about it being like super like showing that detail. What was I going to say?
Well, I know. Remember, I texted you after I saw the movie. I thought there was going to be like an end credit scene, and you're like, no, they just had the
a dedication to Carrie.
Dedication to Carrie Fisher. You know what they could have done? Is had like some kind of like montage of her work like through all the movies and just be like, oh, thank you, Carrie, for everything.
Yeah. That
would have been a cool end.
I really yeah, it would have. I found so sidestepping the characters I really care about. I thought that Benicio del Toro's DJ character was a nice little refresh and odd. But once again, I feel like his character, like they get on board the Snoke ship and it doesn't really have a payoff. Like the fact that he does his own thing is fine. But like, I feel like they could have shortened some of the scenes with Rose and Finn getting to DJ and getting him, and then really gave us something more with that character when they're on board Snoke's ship.
Well, he seems wishy-washy, but I guess they're trying to like beat it into your head. It's like, yeah, he's not playing for either team. It's he's working for the highest bidder.
Which, if there's that interesting part, which I thought was more of an interesting story, where the ship that they stole, the guy sells arms, and he, sold stuff to the First Order, but then he also sold an X-wing to Poe. Well, Poe's X-wing, it looked like. So, that whole concept of both sides at war.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the whole point of those scenes when they're at the casino and stuff. Because Rose even saying, "How do you think these people got so rich?" It's making profits off of war. Like a lot of people do, selling to both sides.
Let's see. I did find the humor fun, like right off the bat in the film, where you have
Luke
Poe like messing with Hux, where he's like, "I'll hold."
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Like that was pretty funny. And he's like,
that's almost Spaceballs.
Yeah. It did border almost too much, but I enjoyed it.
What about when Rey hands Luke the lightsaber and he's just like,
oh, that right there just tells you right off the top, like, this is different.
Because
this is going to be something.
I mean, they put that was the last scene of the last movie, and everyone's like, oh, "What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?" And then he just like flips it over his shoulder.
And I like how he doesn't sense the full. It's an interesting concept that Luke stopped connecting to the Force.
He cut himself off, yeah.
Because if he was, he would sense what's been going on. He would have sensed Han's death. And because he has that where he's like, "Where's Han?" Because I love when Chewie busts in.
Yeah.
And he would have sensed, because he says to Rey, like, "Who are you? Why you?" Because he doesn't sense the Force in her.
Well, that's the whole reason he cut himself off, because he knew, if he sensed something like that, he'd be tempted to come back, and he went there to die, he said.
Which is crazy that he just...
Although, I don't understand, like, I guess he wants to live his natural lifespan, but I'm just like, if you want to go there to die, why are you milking those strange aliens that get green milk or whatever?
Yeah, if you wanted to go there to die, why not just die in the fight?
Yeah.
I'm still mad we haven't seen Lando.
I know, that's what I was thinking of this movie. I was like,
the whole time I was thinking maybe they're gonna, like, they kept it a secret and we're gonna see Lando show up.
I mean, Han's gone, Leo will be gone next movie, and like I said, if we see Luke, it's going to be as a Force ghost. Why? Yeah, bring in Lando. You might not have much as Carrie Fisher taught us. You might not have that much time left.
Exactly.
But speaking of Force ghosts, what did you think of Yoda?
It was awesome. He put Luke back in his place and just told him told him what was up and what he needed to do.
All right, as a huge Star Wars fan, would it have worked, or do you think, no, it's better that they didn't do it, that before Luke died, if he could have had a conversation with Anakin, Anakin's Force ghost, even, either Hayden Christensen, or if you had just had someone in the Vader armor?
I kind of the way the scene was shot and done was really intense. But I kind of would have liked to have seen, maybe when he's letting go, the Force ghosts of, and a callback to Return of the Jedi, Luke, Yoda, Obi-Wan, maybe Anakin, all of them together or something, or even if it was just him standing next to Yoda and saying something about, you need to, now that you're a Force ghost, you need to be with them, the Resistance. Oh, man.
Yeah, what if we got a scene where, right before Luke disappears, he holds hands with, Yoda and his father, and maybe even Ben Kenobi.
Qui-Gon Jinn, throw that out there.
Although he didn't know him, so.
He didn't. What do you call it? if you in this film though, if you think about it, there was no lightsaber versus lightsaber battle.
Well, if you count the two of them trying to pull the one, and they pulled it apart.
The legacy saber, as I call it,
Yeah,
got destroyed. So that means Rey's gonna have to make a new lightsaber.
I was gonna say, do you think that's symbolic of, okay, it's all new from here,
In a way, yeah. I mean,
these people are gonna forge their own destinies now.
Because you think about that saber first appears in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
And then
Anakin's, then it
gets destroyed and he rebuilds it, and it's in Revenge of the Sith. And then Luke gets it in A New Hope, loses it in Empire, and has to.
You're cutting out a little bit. Tyler. All right, everyone might have lost Tyler for a second.
Is a part of. So it's a new color, a new blade for Rey. What do I want Rey to have? Green?
Do we introduce new colors?
In a way, yeah, it's like the legacy, because like Shadow of the Empire.
Dude, you're cutting out.
Yellow. Do you Empire getting a better crystal to be his green one? And people. Do you remember the Shadow of the Empire book?
Honestly, I don't think I read it.
It was.
I didn't read a lot. I didn't read a lot of that extended universe stuff. So
it was like the book that had the most traction because they made toys and everything for it. And in that book, because it takes place after Empire, before Return of the Jedi, Luke creates a yellow saber. So yellow's a color I think that may come up.
That's what I was saying. I wonder if they are going to introduce a ton of new colors now.
I think it would be cool.
I mean, you could all go Green Lanterns and introduce a whole emotional spectrum. Like blue is hope and red is anger, and
red always has been more of that anger. That's why it's always been more of the color of passion and of the villains.
Exactly. That they it's precedent and it's set,
But I mean, so let me see. I'm going through all my notes here.
Oh, but
one thing
no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this. It really isn't Star Wars based, but I haven't had a chance to talk to you on the podcast. What do you think of the Disney buying all the Fox stuff?
Well,
He's gathering his thoughts.
You hear me all right?
No, I hear you, yes.
Come out is Fox still had part.
Dude, no, you're cutting it.
So
you're all right. There you are.
Star Wars, because Fox still had part of Star Wars, the first film, and I think the Clone Wars.
Dude, you're cutting out.
I hate my internet.
I know. The First Order is blocking our transmission.
Then.
Wait, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Let's just go ahead and wrap up since we're getting all kinds of technical problems and I hear my daughter waking up.
Yeah, the First Order is blocking our transmissions. All right. Tyler, where can people talk to you about Star Wars, Superman?
You can find me on the Krypton Report podcast. Find me on Twitter at Krypton Report Pod or at JTY Patrick. Also here on Capes and Lunatics. Yeah, anywhere.
If you need the jump, just go ahead.
All right, yeah, like you're dropping. Like now you're coming in perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Stupid internet. But real quick, what would you give the film, like letter grade wise?
I don't know. I'm kind of hovering between like a B+ and an A-.
Yeah, I guess I kind of, I'd say more of an A- because I really like the bold choices.
Yes.
Do I agree with all of them? I'm not sure yet because I've only watched it once and I really feel like I need to see it again to let it resonate more.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they're willing to take the chance to move it in a new direction, and I think once we have all three films and people can like give it time, there'll be a time to sit back and think. Because we were old enough when we had Empire Strikes Back come out, and then the time period before Return of the Jedi to have these kind of conversations about things. So, but all right, I'm gonna bounce because my youngling is awake.
All right, I'll just do some business and I'll be gone. All right, thank you, sir.
Oh, no problem. See ya, Phil.
See ya. All right, everyone, the great Tyler Patrick. Anyway, for the Capes and Lunatics, we have some great stuff coming up. If you want to contact us, because the next 2 Saturdays we're doing our holiday specials. This Saturday, the 23rd, live at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking to Karen and Charles of the Fandom Zone and reviewing all the movies, TV, comics of the past year. And then we're going to be doing the same thing on Saturday, January, was that the 30th? Yes, at 7 p.m. Eastern also, as we're going to be talking to Diana Morell from the Biters podcast. And they also do a Preacher podcast. So if you want to send in any thoughts for our Christmas or New Year's specials, like I said, anything, what you liked, what you didn't like about 2017, email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter @CapesLunatics. And we have our voicemail. Nice and easy. Just pick up your phone. Tell us in your own voice. 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And also, if you're a big reader, the book club's coming back in January. You can also share your thoughts with us for some of our upcoming books are The Vampire Lestat, Who is the Black Panther, Ready Player One. There's a new Arrow novel coming out in January. We're going to be reviewing that too. So if you want to share any of your thoughts, if you've read those books, like I said, capesandlunatics@gmail.com and the voicemail 614-382-2737. All right. So this has been another Capes and Lunatics special, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So you heard our greatest. It was like an A-. So I'd say that's a big recommend. Go see it if you haven't seen it, especially if you're a big Star Wars fan. And I'm sitting here by myself. So for another week, this has been the Capes. And guess my Charlie answer. And this has been the Capes and the Lunatics. Thank you, everyone. No applause, just throw money. Oh, and if you're listening to this on the podcast, go to our YouTube and subscribe. You can comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go subscribe to our podcast. But you really want to be on our YouTube because we have YouTube exclusive content that we found there. Thanks again. Good night.